Hello and good evening, and we're coming back in from closed session to the City of Petaluma regular meeting of the City Council and the Petaluma Community Development Successor Agency. So we will have roll call.
Barrett.
Here.
Fisher.
Here.
Kearney.
Here.
King.
Here.
McDonald.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
And Healy, I heard, is not yet on, but I will note in the record.
Councilmember Healy, who is having some technical difficulties, is in attendance in this meeting. He's here, but he is on as an attendee, which may make his participation a little bit hard for me to toggle back and forth to figure out if he wants to say something. So we will open general public
The first thing I'd like to
comment.
say, I very highly recommend for the city council and the mayor to look up the definition: respect, hypocrite, denial, and governing body. Your city manager so far in denial is not even funny. If you look it up, you're gonna find out the definition of denial is not the river in Egypt. Every single day, just going to work and coming from work, I observe wrongdoing violation from your staff. And when it comes to your attention, you don't do anything about it. And if you look up the definition of governing body, it is not wooden Indian. That is all 7 of you. And when it comes to your attention, you don't do anything about it. And if you are doing anything about it, actions speak louder than words. Before every meeting, you say the Pledge of Allegiance. You don't even listen to the Pledge of Allegiance. Liberty and justice for all. Where is that coming from when you don't participate or practice that? For the governing body who does not follow the rules, shame on you. And I really like to see some action. Have a good night.
Thank you. In August of 2019, Verizon turned in an alternate site analysis for the proposed 16 antenna project on top of the Petaluma Creamery. In this analysis, they did a poor job of showing alternate and better suited sites. The report gave 3 locations that were most feasible, but Verizon did not want to use them as they said it did not meet their goals. Apparently, the only site that meets their goals is on top of a historical building that is out of compliance in many safety and operational issues, while being surrounded by 95% residential. It should be stated that according to Verizon's website, the place that actually needs better wireless service is closer to site number 8, which is specified in this analysis. Based on what Verizon is showing, this should be very easy to solve, but they do not want to consider this site as they know they cannot have a major facility or the power they want to produce. It should also be noted that Verizon is not going to comply with being a minor facility and other city ordinances at the Creamery site, but would comply with the city codes at the alternate site. How are they able to pick and choose what they will comply with and where? The city has codes to ensure that these WTFs are to be installed only in the most appropriate place. Verizon must comply with this ordinance and be required to improve their site analysis in order to offer the least intrusive location.
Verizon is continuing to act in bad faith with the city of Petaluma. The city has been asking Verizon to produce the 12-month call logs for the 3-mile radius around the creamery for over 3 months now. Verizon has refused to give up this information. They have now stated they will not hand over this vital data. This data, which can be generated in a matter of minutes, is completely free and shows exactly the level of good service that lives in a 3-mile radius around the creamery. They refuse to give this information as it would show that there is no significant gap in Verizon telecommunications service. This would mean that there is no need for this tower and the application would be denied. This refusal of data by Verizon is not acceptable and continues to show that they are acting in bad faith and doing whatever they want to not comply with the city and its ordinances. What is even more unsettling is that if you go to Verizon's main website and go to their national coverage map and type in 611 Western Avenue, which is the address to the creamery, you will see that they are showing that there is full 5G nationwide and 4G LE service in all of Petaluma. How can they say there's full service on their business website, but then submit completely different information to the city when there is not this service? The answer is that there is no gap in service anywhere in Petaluma, especially around the creamery. These call logs can show this, and this is why the applicant will not provide it. Those of you who can and will make decisions about this project cannot allow an outside company to provide inaccurate information, bad faith, and zero evidence to do business here in Petaluma. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for the time. I want to actually tell you that my comments are true and accurate within my personal understanding. It's exceedingly unlikely that it was our federal legislators' intent when they voted through the 1996 Telecommunications Act to force Americans to sicken and die in order to maximize the profits of the wireless industry. In fact, our legislators explicitly stated the intent of the 1996 TCA in its 1996 conference report, which was recognized by the U.S. Supreme Court in 2005. Quote, "We do not intend that if a state or local government grants a permit in a commercial district, it must also grant a permit for a competitor's tower in a residential district," end quote. The intent of the law was to not have these in or near residential districts. It doesn't matter that you have a slice of grandfathered industrial property in the middle of a neighborhood. The effect is the same. Okay. And the problem is that we have real evidence of harms now. People living next to these antennas are getting sick in a matter of weeks, immediate neurological, cardiac, and immune system problems. How many people have to get sick before we just take action and deny this tower? It's completely unnecessary. And it's all figured out by a drive test, which we're playing hide the pickle with. The city of Petaluma doesn't give anybody information about this test of whether or not it's been done or not done. They won't answer a question for months. It's unbelievable. No calls returned.
Good evening. I'm a neighbor of the Petaluma Creamery. Given the high fire risk of the creamery operations and the prospect of a major cell tower facility with its associated equipment being placed on the building, which houses both boilers and ammonia, is very risky to the many residential homes in the neighborhood, the nearby preschools, the high school, the many houses of worship, and even City Hall. In October, at the City Council meeting, there was a fire prevention proclamation which read, "If predictable, it's preventable." The creamery facility has a long history of fires, the most recent of which was in June of this year. It's my understanding that this recent incident involved a boiler fire in the very building where the ammonia is stored, and that no alarm was triggered. Given the high fire risk of the operations, the prospect of a major cell tower facility with associated equipment on this building is extremely risky to the residential homes surrounding the facility. As further evidence of the history of fires at this facility, if you look at the photos from 1975, when there was a major fire at this location, it's stunning the level of damage to the surrounding areas. Further, the business owner's blatant disregard for complying with environmental, health, and safety regulations.
Good evening. The city of Petaluma has made the right decision for our town and us residents by ordering a drive test to measure the level of telecommunications service in a 3-mile radius around the Petaluma Creamery. With that said, it is very important that once this test is completed, the raw data needs to be put in the public record as soon as possible. CTC consultants have been hired to do this drive test and are expected to provide a report of what they found. This report must include the raw data for the record and made available for everyone to see. The raw data shows the actual service levels that were measured, and it's critical for the city and public to have a chance to view it. This ensures that regardless what consultants may say or try to show, that it's the actual data which drives the truth. Once the raw data is completed, it's most reasonable to put the information immediately into the public record. Verizon has stated that there is a need for greater capacity, but this term is not legally viable and is nowhere in the 1996 TCA. That is why we must have the raw data to show what is important, that there is no significant gap in Verizon telecommunications service within a 3-mile radius of the Petaluma Creamery. We have been told that this drive test has already been completed. We asked the city to put the raw data in the public record immediately so it's available for public review. Thank you very much.
Thank
for your
you.
time.
The Petaluma Creamery is still out of compliance with the BAA QMD. This non-compliance has been going on for 13 years and counting. The Petaluma Creamery is coming up on a very important date. They need to be in compliance with their boilers and emissions by December 31st, 2020. Failure to do so would mean what exactly? The creamery has been asked to stay compliant and no consequences have been given. Please remember that the creamery has had a record of not meeting the dates the last 4 times over 13 years to be in compliance. Where is the creamery only 20 days away now from its deadline in relation to what work needs to be done? It should also be noted that in addition to this specific issue, many others still remain. The creamery is still out of compliance with their ammonia cooling system, and this had to be in compliance with over 10 vital safety measures by September 31st. This work has not been done, and this non-compliance leaves the community at a safety risk every single day it is not enforced. It should also be noted that only 2 weeks ago, the city fire department gave a citation to the creamery. Still, there continues to be old and new issues at this site. This site is not the least intrusive or most appropriate site for the proposed cell tower. Deny this application or put it somewhere else that is most appropriate and least intrusive, just like our city code demands. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Petaluma real estate brokers and agents are informing residents that the Verizon wireless facility at the creamery will cause up to 20% loss of property values for homes and businesses near the creamery. This is per national data analysis. Such is the case that homeowners are required to disclose that they live near a cell tower when they go to sell their houses. The data analysis proven truth is no one wants to live or do business near a wireless facility. Further consider that 20% lower property values in turn lower property tax revenue for the city. Consider what that means for our city budget each year now and for future generations to come, and what that impact will look like when CalPERS obligations come to full maturity. And pardon me, it must be stated that the creamery is a complete mess and not a good neighbor. It is out of compliance with its toxic and flammable ammonia cooling systems and air quality. Fires break out there regularly, the most recent just a few weeks ago. I recently learned that International Firefighters Association will not even allow cell facilities on any firehouses. How can our city even consider placing cell towers on top of this flimsy corrugated metal tower with a dimpled roof directly over tanks of ammonia? This facility must be moved elsewhere, away from homes and businesses.
Thank you very much. I did hang in because I wanted to hear this item to figure out what's really going on with the selection of a consultant, given that the people of Petaluma did vote to have kind of a new and different kind of makeup on our city council going forward in the next term. So we do understand that at least 2 new members are coming on to the council. And it seems that the general plan is a very important thing that will change, well, basically direct how the framework for us making decisions for development. Now, look, let's be honest. We've been a very developer-friendly council for quite a long time. And so I think the people are speaking now to say, gee, we don't really think that's right. We don't think Petaluma should be for sale as thoroughly as it has been for sale. And so my suggestion is on this issue, more than others, because it's a longer process that won't get finished until 2023, even though you have some hard internal deadlines. I think a couple of considerations. Number one, whatever council members we put on this committee should be council members that will continue to serve, because they will then be living with the consequences of the process. I think that's reasonable. And I think that everyone should go along with that. Secondly, I see no reason to have to rush this through. You could actually delay this thing for maybe just 1 month and then let the full new sitting council be among the people who could be selected for this kind of process. Because at the end of the day, take a look at how many people on the same page are represented on this committee. I'm going to count the planning manager from the M group. Hey, you know what? The M group's also managing the general plan development. How about that? And now we have Peggy Flynn as well, the city manager. Gee, that seems to be like a chummy group there with 3 of the votes right now. I think you need more diversity on this committee. And so I'm thinking very much that if you have to put somebody on tonight, make it a council member that will be serving through all of 2021. If you can wait, even better. Give a chance for Brian Barnacle or Dennis Postake to possibly be selected, because, you know, it's important that the people's vote be represented in the future of Petaluma's development. So, you know, maybe you don't want to have a single individual decision about a house from the Haases and flop over for another month, but this one's different. You're going to make very different changes in your general plan or development decisions based on what's in your general plan. So you want to make sure that you get a consultant that's copacetic with what the people have decided by their votes. Thank you very much for my time.